Oh yeah. So when Tony, you was kind of talking about like every era is gonna have people like Wale, like kind of in hindsight, or like when people look back down the line and say like, damn, he wasn't the biggest artist or something like that. Who do you feel
Hmm.
like that person of the previous era?
Uh, who can I look back on in that way?
Can,
For Go ahead, Justin. Go ahead.
I was like, I was another suggestion, and that's because, and this is gonna sound nuts, because dude was definitely like a star when he was there, but I feel like he's even remembered more fondly. Is like, I feel like the last couple years, like early Jewels has been propped up even more than like he was appreciated in real time, and that's probably
Oh
not a good
hell no.
answer for this
Jewels will never
question.
be appreciated again how he was in real time.
Uh,
They was talking about Jewels and Lil Wayne. Like it's those two. That's it.
Niggas will never have those conversations today.
Ever. The real life like praise of Joel Santana could never be replicated again.
all right, all right.
What? And I know we talk about him a lot. Would Kiss fall into like that category? Not even. I'm
That's a
like
good one. That's a good
Kiss
one right
because
there.
it's like you talking about somebody who was like everybody knew he was dope, but it was like I think now, like I mean, even the way we talk about him though is like the niggas
Kiss is
that
a good
was
one for sure.
the niggas that was adults like when we was kids and shit like that, like when Kiss was kind of at his peak, they was like,
Like
oh
Kiss
yeah,
was
Kiss
cold,
is
but he
dope, but
wasn't
he
like a
wasn't. Yeah,
superstar.
he wasn't over. And it's like we be looking at Kiss like who was better than this nigga.
Fact.
That's
That's a
That's like
fact.
Kiss is probably the perfect example though, to like really, because it's like we look
that's
at
all
that
the New
nigga
York
like who the
niggas
fuck.
though. Like if you take because New York has been dominated
That
by
ain't all
like
the New York niggas.
No, that's not all of them.
Shout out
no,
to
no,
them.
it's not. Let me rephrase that. It's all the New York niggas who you think make really good music because New York has always been dominated in a way by like a singular or yeah, by a singular superstar during certain points of time where like everybody's gonna almost fall into that because like you ain't
But I
gonna
feel
have
like I feel like a nigga like Fab, like and I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago how I've been like on a Fab kind of like a Fab kick lately, and I was like, oh, this nigga was fire, but I don't ever listen to Fab and be like, who's better than this nigga? Like
no, but
I
they
listen
different
to
kind of
Fab.
rappers. They're not even making the same kind of music. Like
And Fab was as big as Fab should have been.
that's what I'm
That's
saying.
what
I
I'm
don't think
saying.
Fab
Like I
was
think,
downplayed.
It's
Like
like to
Fab was a
Wale,
hold
we
star.
on.
may not think he's been as big as he probably should be. And like Kiss, like Will said, like Kiss was the perfect example to that. It's like it's not a lot of guys in that way, but there are certain guys where it's like during their eras, they're not as big as you go a few years later, and you're like, damn, they probably should have been bigger than they were.
Who else would you put in that Justin from New York? Then, like if you feel like it's so many.
So it's I'm not gonna run down a bunch of New York niggas just because I'm not
No, no, I'm just saying
stupid.
like you ain't got to give me just give me one or two. I guess if you got one or two that you feel like, in your opinion. Because now automatically you're gonna be thinking like, all right, man, who could I throw in like that Kiss category? Like it's like, all right, who because
See,
now
Kiss
they
is a high
automatically
bar
get
though, because if you're going for Kiss for like the I just don't think a lot of niggas rap as well as Kiss. But I also think Kiss was probably I don't want to undersell because to me like I don't think the Locks you would say that what's the Locks is one of the biggest groups in hip hop history. And so I think that has to go with Kiss, where it's like, yeah, maybe as a solo act, Kiss wasn't as big as we felt like he should have been. But I don't think because you have to include the Locks in his career and the way people perceived him.
the locks wasn't as big as they should have
Even
been.
I was about to say, even the
Like
locks wasn't.
like you got to think like it's only because of like the only reason
Take
they
away
get
that
the praise they
verses, take away
do.
that
That's what I
verses,
was
the
gonna say.
locks probably still don't get the respect that
The
they
only
deserve.
the only only reason it seemed like they do is because like you can't name other like it ain't that number one, it ain't that many rap groups. Like it's a lot of them, but it's like when you thinking about like just some of those bigger rap groups, it ain't that many, and once you start naming them, it's like they not bigger than the locks. Like I mean, Dipset was viewed as like
No, you got
bigger than the
Dipset.
locks. Like Dipset was bigger than the locks.
Well, during that that time frame, it's like Outkast is obviously kind of in their own lane as far as if you want to go like super groups, right? Like Outkast is probably at the top of the
Okay,
list.
it's not better than the locks either.
No, I'm
But
not saying they better than them. I'm saying like if you want to take recognition, star power, like you wasn't like that was the group, right? Is that fair to say?
I would say Wu Tang, but I get you.
Wu Tang's up there as well. Um,
No, for sure.
like
But that's why like it's not a lot of rap groups, so it's easy to feel like everybody got they just due because it's not a lot. But it's like the Locks wasn't that big, especially here. Like in the Midwest, like I don't feel like the Locks was like that big at all.
no, okay. So if you want to do, so maybe that's I'm interpreting this wrong because the internet takes away a lot of regional stuff. If we going back to like just regionally, who never really like broke out of their region probably or as much as they should have. Okay, then I'm rolling with that. Um, and I guess how deep do you want to go on this list? Because like I would say,
I guess give us a West who like I guess what you being from the West Coast. Who do you feel like is somebody maybe on the West Coast that you feel like should have been
It's more
bigger?
appreciated now than they were then.
oh, I mean, if we doing currently, now he's gotten more love recently, but I think Schoolboy. I think Schoolboy because of running behind Kendrick should have been considered a bigger artist, should have been more popular. But when a nigga in your own clique is doing what he's doing at the start of their careers, um, I think both Schoolboy and J Rock got pushed to the side, like in ways that were, and I don't think it, not even like in a hating way because they all
We
humble, they
we
all
not
cool with each
going.
other.
We not going. I don't think we. I think we just got different ideas of what the question is.
As far as like niggas
Because
who you don't
Schoolboy
think like,
Q is as big as he should have been for what
Yeah,
he's
like it,
released.
like
what
I ain't
about
never
J
listened
Rock?
to Schoolboy Q.
J Rock too. Like J Rock was
Yeah,
Grammy nominated. Like, I mean, like guys, when we talk about Wale, for Wale to have made the quality of music that he's made and to have the success, it still has not been recognized. That's the thing. These guys have been recognized for the success and for the music they've made. Wale, for the music he's made and the success when we talk about like plaques and certifications, he has not been recognized for that, for his accomplishments.
Okay, I'm gonna throw then and if to help me better understand the premise, then is do you think someone like Sean also falls into that same era, has hits, but probably isn't? I don't know
I
what
don't
the
think Sean's made the quality of music of Wale
I think Sean is another one. He got what he was supposed to get. I feel like.
thus far, at least, because Sean's still going credit to him.
Yeah,
But
so I'm not
he's
saying like he shouldn't get any more,
he
but like
shouldn't
it
be
had to be
though. That
based
last
on what he
album was
does.
I like Sean, but that last album we could have you could stay at home with your kid, bro.
But that's
Um,
what I'm saying. Like you ain't said that we just went through Wale albums and ain't nobody felt like oh that last album you should have left that where it was at. But
I'm gonna come back to it because I
there's
think
not
it's
there's not many for sure,
that's what I'm
but
saying.
there are
It's
those
not a lot of them.
guys. There are those guys.
because I guess okay then I guess I would ask to be fair here because obviously we got people that we fuck with probably more than maybe the general public does. Is what do you feel like? I guess if Kiss is our example, what do you think Kiss's level should have been? Like if you were to say, yo, if he was fully recognized for as dope as he was, as great as he was, where should he have fit in the pecking order?
For the level of rapping now, for the level of rapping Kiss has, plus like the street shit and all of that, he would be in a he would be in comparison to a place where like Meek was at. Like Kiss would have had the number one album. He would have went three like 250 or 200,000 in a week when when record
You would have
sales
been
mattered and shit
so
like that.
like in his era, like when we
Like
talked about a big three, Meek was
we
never
gonna make it would have been like a top three record in the country type shit
yeah.
in
So it's like
comparison to like the time.
so it's like all right, like when we talk about like the big three now, like or even when we did a few years ago, it was like Meek was always debated to be like in that top five, and I don't think back in his era, Kiss never got that recognition. But it's like if Kiss got the recognition he deserved, he would have been debated to be top five, top golly. He would have been in conversations as far as being top five.
Like
Like he had to,
Like
he had to tell you he was top five.
Kiss the Game Goodbye would be talked about as like an all time debut if he got the credit. Like a record and obviously like times were different. Like I said, record sales and shit like that is like different. But like that's an album that has Knock Yourself Out by Pharrell. That's the album that has We Gonna Make It. Plus just that's the album that got Put Your Hands Up. Like plus just him, all the other tracks where he's just rapping. And that would have just been like a bigger thing.
Okay, now do you think some of that is though like the style of music someone makes? So, and I'll throw that out where like I think someone like Push should get more credit. I also know when all you do is rap about coke, that is going to limit. That's just going to naturally limit, and not that that's all that Push raps about, but like that's the stigma around him, and that's going to naturally kind of cap you at a certain point. But do you feel like someone like Push though
To,
would fit that criteria?
no, because to that, Push has had the success Push should have had. Like it's like Push hasn't had a career where it's like, damn, Push is underrated. Like everybody know Push cold, and Push hasn't had the career where it's like Push should be Push ain't that good. Like you know what I mean? Like niggas ain't like, oh, he ain't that good. Like
Like
other than Jim
I
Jones,
don't I don't think
other than Jim Jones,
so.
niggas
I
ain't.
don't think like 15 years from now, like if verses was a thing and Push was to do a verses, like I don't think niggas would be like, oh shit, like I didn't know he did this. Versus like with the Locks and Jada Kiss, like when they did that when Kiss did that first verses against Fab and watched him, then the Locks did the verses against Dipset and watched it was like niggas was like, oh my god, like who is these niggas? Like that was the reaction. Like niggas thought some of those freestyles Kiss was up there spinning was new. They was like, oh shit.
That's a fact.
Like
Because I know niggas heard that
niggas thought
Hushasha freestyle. I was like,
oh they
damn, I
said
remember this from 2010. And niggas like, damn,
niggas
when
was
did
in the niggas was on Twitter talking about what he said he's a dick you pussy y'all neighbors. All I see was down to like oh man Jadakiss new freestyle like what where was y'all niggas at?
this shit came out on what was
So
my
like I
son
don't
name
think
on a
what'd you say?
no, I was saying this shit came out on a Scoob Doo
Oh,
DVD back in
shout
back
out to
in
School Dude.
2010.
But that's what I'm so it's like I don't think like 15 years from now like if like Pusha was to do a versus niggas would be like who the fuck is this? Like I don't think like or even a Big Sean, like 20 years from now, like he do a verse, they be like, oh man, this might have been the best nigga ever.
Now,
Like
Justin, to that to what you said about Push, I do think that has where we're at currently that has applied to the clips. I do think the clips now
Mm-hmm.
have gotten more like respect and credit and love than they did then, and they were praised then, but it was a lot of ringtone rap and shit like that
hmm
flooding the market, so it wasn't as respected outside of like quote unquote purist niggas. But now I think that when the next Clips album drops, that'll be like a much bigger thing amongst mainstream than it was then. And obviously a lot plays into that, but the
Mm-hmm.
credit, the talent is for sure at the forefront.
And I guess too it depends, and maybe this is just like my own viewpoint on it is like where you think someone should land, right? Is like because I would probably have a harder time, like even with someone like Wale, where I've even, um, like I view Wale as top five from his era, and so for me, that kind of inflates with like what I think he's doing because I'm not. Will's kind of a great person to throw this off on because there's times like shit happens and Will just isn't on Twitter, and so he'll totally miss like some shit that goes on. And he's just like, nigga, I was at work, I was with my kids doing actual life shit. And so he's like, he doesn't have like the pulse, quote unquote, of what like the internet or people are talking about. He's only got his own opinion. And so with Wale, it's probably a lot of that applies. And with some of these guys, I'm trying to think of them like, I might have you in a certain spot, and because of that, it's going to directly affect of like, okay, how big should you be? And I might not have like a real feel for how the masses actually feel about it. Like I would tell someone, and I don't even know if y'all really ever even listen to him. Like to me, like I think Tech Nine has gotten more love the longer into his career, and he's kind of like the poster child for like independent artists. How much success can you have? All this other shit, and he was doing weird stuff back when he was at his quote unquote biggest. But he's gotten more mainstream love post. Hell, go back to when Wayne had him on the Carter Four, and it was even though it was just an interlude, it was like this is a
He
bigger
was on the
audience than
Carter
what
4, wasn't
yeah, and he's like
he?
he
Forgot
says in
about
the
that.
verse, he's like, "Yo, thank you, because this is a way like you Wayne, I'm Tech Nine, like this is a way bigger platform and amount of people that I really get to listen to me." But again, it's like some people tell you, and there's some facts for it, like Tech is the most successful independent artist ever. So it's like, did you reach the success you were supposed to? Probably, but I think if you like, I fuck with Tech Nine heavy, so I'm like, I think he should be even bigger. And I guess that's where in my mind I'm trying to like understand where my disconnect with the question probably comes from is like, how do you view somebody
But I
like that?
think, yeah, because I think somebody like Tech Nine, like you said, he was kind of, awkward. He did like weird shit, and not awkward. Not when I say awkward, I don't mean like him personally. I'm just saying like maybe his style of making music and things like that. So it's like he would have been hard to market. So it's like going. I think he was as big as he was supposed to be independently, and I don't know if he would have gotten as big trying to be anything other than that. But like even to the point of like Wayne having him on the album, or even when we talk about Jada Kiss and Wale, like the niggas at the top know who the other niggas is. Like,
Oh
so
yeah.
it's like Wayne knew Tech Nine was like one of them niggas. Or like, other artists today, they know like rapping wise, they know Wale is one of them niggas. Niggas back in the day, they knew Kiss was like one of them niggas, even though like, we feel like, and a lot of people may feel like Kiss didn't get the recognition he deserved.